KUGAN, CASSIUS, iField TV in association with MTK Global with the press comments here.
CASSIUS.
For Joshua Parker. What's happening?
You just go on holiday now. It's like...
Can I say,
yeah.
I might go on holiday, but I got off a plane at 9 o'clock.
This morning?
No, yeah, landed at 9 o'clock and come straight out.
Fair play. You're a warrior.
Warrior. It's on.
It's on.
Is it 3 belts or 4 belts? Because you've knocked the IBO before.
It's a tough one. For me, an IBO championship belt, like an IBO fight, I'm a little bit old school compared to, I see 4 world championship belts. So IBO, you know, when it's involved in unifications, do you call it an extra belt? I have respect for the IBO, but as a standalone, for me there are 4 primary world championship belts.
Okay.
But it's an honour to have the IBO world championship, and for the time being, we will say we have 3 belts.
Interesting press conference today. More interested in the exchange between you and Higgins.
Yeah. To
be honest with you, but I asked him about it, and you know, I said to him,
"Now listen, David Higgins is actually a good bloke. He's quirky. He's out there. He knows what he's doing. He's done a great job to build this fight and get under the skin of Anthony Joshua. All I was saying at the press conference is, don't say all those things." I even said it on Sky Sports on Saturday. But when he got within 5 feet of Josh, I wanted him to say it to his face. But he couldn't quite get, the bum was just going a little bit, he couldn't quite get the words out. And I was also trying to make the point that, do you truly believe you're going to win this fight? I think that Parker and his team, they believe they can win the fight, but do they believe they will win the fight? And that's the difference between the mindsets, I believe, of the 2 camps and the 2 fighters. We see no possible way of defeating this fight. That's the mentality of the team. But their team is, we think we can knock Joshua out. And I just wanted Higgins to look at Josh in the face and say, you have a glass jaw. You know, you are mentally weak. You know, he goes on about things about the England cricket team, the England football team, England in general. They look great, but when they get up there, I wanted him to say all those things. Because I've got a theory that this could be the first time that I don't get booed. Because I think there's a guy here that maybe the British public can go, do you know what? Eddie Hearn's not that bad, you know? But we'll see. Like I said, it's been a pleasure working with Higgins. And I like him. He's good at what he does. And actually, from the business side, he's very good also. He's straight. He's 100% on his word. And I like him. I just want him to carry this little act on because I think it's great fun. But like I said, they are quirky, but quirky doesn't win you elite level fights. Like Eric the Eel, he was quirky. He weren't going to win Olympic gold. Eddie the Eagle, well, he was great, wasn't he? Real quirky. He weren't about to get gold, was he? So there's quirky and there's elite, and I believe Anthony Joshua is a true elite fighter.
This seems like a lot had to happen to get this over the line. It's like
a long time.
For a long time. But as in regards to the splits, what can you tell us about that?
All I can tell you is that we reached an agreement that everyone was happy on. I don't really talk about the splits, and you know, I think it's well documented. I think people can have a good guess about where it is, but it's not for, you know, it's a confidential agreement that doesn't really need to be discussed. What needs to be discussed is this is a unification fight. This is the first time in Britain, in history, that 2 reigning heavyweight world champions have faced each other. It's the first time in history that 2 unbeaten heavyweights with 100% winning records have boxed each other in a unification fight. And I think people need to understand and give the respect to Anthony Joshua that in his 21st fight, this is his 2nd unification world heavyweight title. He's had more heavyweight defences, I believe, than any other heavyweight world champion from this country. He's had 20 fights. You know, he's stepping up time after time to provide entertainment and to test himself and to try and create a legacy for himself, and he should be applauded for that. Because other fighters, and listen, I have to be honest with you, perhaps if it was solely my decision, we'd take a couple of easier fights. We'd go and box somewhere, you know, we'd go around the world. But that's me as a greedy promoter. What Anthony wants is, he wants to create a legacy, he wants to test himself. And deep down I do too, because that's the excitement. You never really want to sit there in a fight that you can't lose because it's a little bit boring. So it's a pleasure to work with someone that actually does want to be in those fights, but I think he needs more respect and more credit from the fight community. I'm not talking about from from the general fans, because the support they give him is incredible. But you know, to be at 21 fights in your second unification fight, I think it's incredible. When we sat down and signed Anthony Joshua, if we would have said, oh, in your 21st fight you'll be in your second world heavyweight, they would have laughed. Rob McCracken would have told me to get out. Like, don't be ridiculous. We're bringing him through at the right pace, and we have. But he's been willing to step up, and every move. I can't think of a better example of a way a career has been managed than Anthony Joshua.
Just give yourself a little.
Not just me. No. Listen, well, of course I've done an amazing job, best promoter in the world. But that was a joke. Well, it wasn't a joke. It was true. Yeah, it's a thing. And Freddie Cunningham, Andy Bell, Ewan, all the guys. You know, Anthony makes all the decisions himself. He's one of the rare athletes or fighters that he does whatever he wants, but he's very smart and he makes the right decisions time and time again. And every step, you know, from going back to Kevin Johnson, you know, Gary Cornish, Kevin Johnson, like these were the perfect steps at the right time. Dillian Whyte, perfect fight at that time for him. Brazil was the perfect defence. Molina, Klitschko was the perfect fight from that time. Takam Parker is the perfect fight. The perfect fight. Because all that matters is becoming undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Forget everything else. And I genuinely mean that. And of course, everybody wants to make as much money as possible. But the sole aim of the team and the camp is to become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Obviously, a rematch clause in this.
Yeah, it's an interesting. No, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. There's a couple of different permutations, but people got to understand the rematch clause when you're negotiating with Joseph Parker is if he wins this fight, he becomes one of the biggest stars in world boxing, and if he wins this fight, the rematch with Anthony Joshua is absolutely huge. So that rematch, what that essentially gives him is a chance to make tens of millions by winning this fight. Do you know what I mean?
What's the couple of permutations?
There's always some wording and clauses around rematch, so not really the permutation. If it's a great fight and it's a close fight, we'd quite like to do it again. We don't have to, but we'd quite like to do it again. But you know, for there to be a straight rematch, has to, you know, one of the fighters have got to want to do it. Anthony's got to want to do it. It's got to be a good fight, because otherwise, if it's not, do we necessarily want to do it again? Do we want to give the public that fight? Plenty of things can happen. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Don't look too deeply into it. You just got a devious mind.
I'm sure people will.
There'll be a big debate about it now.
Back to back at Cardiff, which is huge as well. Ticket prices be the same as?
Yeah, pretty much. So I think there's a couple of small increases from the TACAM prices, but generally every price is the same. Go on sale, pre-sale on Monday, general sale on Tuesday.
You're expecting the majority of them to go there?
Yeah, they'll all go. I mean, I think for the TACAM fight, for some production holds, we might have had 800 or 1,000 tickets that didn't go, late ones that were put on. This is a big fight. This is a history-making fight. And I have to say, this is a great fight, because I rate Joseph Parker, and I think stylistically, this is a good fight for Joseph Parker. Do you know what I mean? I think that style-wise, he wants a guy who wants to come forward and trade with him, because he's fast, he's got a good chin, he's got great stamina, and you know, I think this is a tough fight.
Who are you planning on putting on the undercard?
Good question. We're going to announce that in the next. Hopefully, some announcements early next week. A lot
of your fighters are already in fights, aren't they?
Yeah, but loads waiting by. I mean, Burnett, Croller, Campbell. You've got an interesting one that I'm working on at the moment. Can't talk too much. I think Josh Kelly is going to be on a card. Joe Caldina, definitely this time in a big title fight after last time. Looking to have probably a similar sort of card to the TACAM show. I think same sort of quality. A couple of world title fights if great, if possible. Yeah, and just we've had such a great start to the year. Things have really. I'll tell you what it is, Coog. I went away, right, and sort of gave me a chance to sort of analyse the year of, i.e. 2017. It was a really great year for us. I think we can always do better, but I sort of realised that we have got to improve in our shows, and the fans let you know that, you know, because ultimately I'm one of the few promoters, you know, does, I don't know, Bob Arum run his social media account? No, of course he doesn't. Does Frank Warren run his Twitter account? Of course he doesn't. You're not talking to Frank Warren. you're talking
but
to me.
people know that, don't they?
Not really, not in the way they write to him.
No, I think if
Hi
Frank's
Frank,
got...
tell us... So,
no, but I think if Frank's got something to say, he'll sign it.
yeah, but when people are asking him questions, he's not replying. You know that.
Okay, what your point?
What I'm saying is, I see it. I see everything. I see what people think. If people think I'm a prick, they'll tell me, and I'll see it. So I understand the feedback, and I'm not an idiot. I know when people say, you've had a good year, yeah, Klitschko was good, but you've got to step up your game on Saturday night fight nights. You know, it's not a case of, fuck off, mate, who are you telling me that? You're the fan, you're the market, you're the punter. So I have to listen to you. And I feel like I do need to step up the game in 2018 to make sure that we continue to establish our position as the best. That's all. Not that we need to step it up because it's not good enough. It is good enough. But we want to be leagues above everybody else. I don't want to be, you know, in front, but it's the gap's closing, or you're just in front. I want to be miles ahead of everyone else. And we have the ability to be. I'm good enough to be. Our fighters on another level to be. So when I was away, I really contemplated this, and I thought to myself, we need to come back and we need to make sure that fighters are in real fights, that we don't necessarily give managers or advisors the fight that they want but we don't want and the fans don't want, because the only one that gets it in the neck is me. So luckily we're in a position where fighters are willing to step up. Fighters do want to be in big fights. Fighters do want to make as much money as possible. And it comes back to, if you're in a great fight and you lose, it's not the end of your career. Now, Coley Chamberlain is a great example of that. So when I got back, I was filled with energy and I was filled with enthusiasm, and I started making fights. Like Coley Chamberlain got announced, you know, just before we went away. Saw the ticket sales. Then we signed AMIR Khan, went absolutely nuts. You got Brooke Rabchenko. Then I announced Whyte against Browne, just went completely off the chain. We did Quigg against Valdez, and people started coming back, and it's like, this is incredible. What a start to the year. You are smashing it. This is the place to be. Wow. And it's like, I haven't really got that for a while. And it's sort of given me the momentum, and I've realised that it's actually quite nice to be liked. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep trying to put on unbelievable fights and unbelievable cards. I do try and do it anyway, but more so now than ever, because the response that I've got from our start to the season has been incredible, and it sort of gives me a little bit of a warm feeling here and a little bit of a tingle here. And I like that, to be honest with you. I like a warm feeling here and a tingle here, and you know, I've realised that these people who give me stick, actually, if I do great things, they will give me the credit as well. And I've been getting the credit, and it feels great. Maybe it's just a little ego thing, but I don't care what it is. It's good news for you guys, because I'm feeling great about our schedule, and what I'm trying to make over these next couple of months is huge. So, I feel good.
Talking about keeping the fans happy, something that hasn't gone down well is your date of AMIR Khan clashing with Carl Frampton. Yeah, can you just give
I talked about this with James, but I think you're on a beach at the time. So what I'll tell you is very straightforward. April the 21st was our date for AMIR Khan. We've got a show on April the 14th, which is due to be Katie Taylor. We may stay in Dublin, we may go to America with that, but I've got another huge show that I'm planning on April the 14th as well, if we don't go to Dublin. So what happened was, April the 7th was Carl Frampton, as you know, all along. April the 7th was the date that it was going to be. So April 21st was our only date in April, other than because April 28th we were with Danny Jacobs. So that was the date we booked for AMIR Khan. Go away, look at the venues, Liverpool. About 2 days before our announcement, it broke that Carl Frampton was going to fight Nonito Donaire on April 21st. Okay? We've booked a venue, we've printed the backdrop, we've already secured the date with AMIR in his training camp. It's the point of no return. So I look at it and I think AMIR Khan's return is absolutely huge. It is going to do huge numbers on Sky. So what do? Obviously, it's not good for anybody to be clashing with schedules, but the truth is we're going to dominate, as we do. And our numbers are going to be incredible on April 21st. And it's going to, you know, someone at Boxing News said to me the other day, you know, is this a case of you just wanting to dominate BT on the viewing figures? No, it's not. But as it happens now, that's what we've got to try and do, because it's competition.
That doesn't help the fans at all.
No, but what I'm saying is, Q, the decision wasn't made. The decision was already made. And they're not to blame either. Because they knew we were going on April 21st. But ultimately, they have to go on April 21st because it's the date for Frampton, it's the date that the venue was booked. Maybe it's the date that Daenerys preferred, but there's nothing you can do.
But all right, this aside, can we try and do something so that this doesn't keep happening?
Anytime. They can call me anytime they want. But I don't mean to sound disrespectful and arrogant, but I don't look at the viewer numbers. I can't say this without, and they're not a threat to us on their numbers. So what I'm saying to you is, by Frampton going on April 21st, it doesn't really affect our position or our numbers. It might do small, but not really. Do you know what I'm saying? If it was, I don't know, ITV1 had a show and, you know, it was doing 1 million or over, I would think, you know, but I can't necessarily run my business worrying about people that don't particularly like me and making sure I give them a call before I make every decision. Because one, we haven't got time, and two, we work in a reactive business. And I'll explain what that means. What that means is, when you're trying to secure a date and you're sitting down with AMIR Khan, he says April 21st is the date, and then we go through all the arenas, and the one that you can get, the one that you want, the only date that's available is April 21st, but we need to know because we've got a music act who likes that date as well. Done, take it, book me in, bosh. Send the deposit. That's how it works. It's not, oh, hang on a minute, let me try and get hold of Frank Warren and just see if he's going that night as well. Oh, hi guys, are you going up? Well, we might be. They're not going to tell me anyway. You think they want to tell me? Come on, let's not be deluded that this is this friendly business where he's going to call me up and go, hey mate, how's it going? What's your schedule looking like this year? Because we don't want to clash, do we? Come on.
No, I get that. Just
exactly. Well, don't be so naive to think that.
No,
oh, come on.
no, just
no. Listen, it ain't great. I'd rather they didn't have a show that night, but they do. So what we're going to do about it? We're going to put the biggest show on we can and the best undercard we can because it's competition, and they'll be doing exactly the same. I can't be more honest than that.
Okay. Obviously, Lucas Brown doing White.
You're loving that press conference, aren't you?
Happening Thursday.
Yeah, he touched down today. Big fight, big fight. And you see Josh talking in the media huddle there. He wants to fight Dillian Whyte again. You know, so that's a tough fight. I was talking to Tony Bellew about it last night. He's like, I think it's a tough fight for Dillian Whyte. But he wants a tough fight, he needs a tough fight, and it's the kind of fight where he can show what he's been working on and he can show how good he is. And after that, he has to fight for the world title next. But it's a brilliant, brilliant fight. March 24th. It's gone down incredible. It's one of the things I'm saying, you know, about, actually, you announce a fight, people say, bro, and you think, oh, great, feels, you know, let's do some more.
Has there been any more on Tyson Fury on your side? It looks like he's going with BT and that.
I don't know. I mean, he phones me up, he texts me. He's, I think he has some legal issues now with other promoters who claim to be, or claim that they have some kind of position on him. He talks about the Anthony Joshua fight. He texts Anthony Joshua. The truth is, if he wants the Anthony Joshua fight, he just has to call me up and come and see me in the office, and we can get it made. Now, if he wants a fortune for his return, he can do it. But he has this feeling that, I don't know, I guess that like we're against him or whatever, and it's not the case. But I think he has a lot on his plate all round. But you know, there's only one place to be if he wants the AJ fight and he wants huge purses, and that's with us. But if he don't like us or he don't really want to work with us, no issues. So. Dave
Allen, Leroy Thomas, is it happening?
Yes, I'm actually. Well, fuck it, I'll do it anyway. That fight's happening on March the 3rd in Sheffield. I was going to announce it tomorrow, but I better announce it tonight now because I've first. Yeah, I'm pleased for Dave. You know, he's had a bit of a mare with his back, and now he's back. 7 weeks to go. It's going to be a huge night in Sheffield. You've got Brooke Rabchenko, Brooke coming back. I've got to tell you, since we've signed AMIR Khan, Kel has got the absolute bit between his teeth, and he just, you know, he's training harder than ever. He wants this more than ever. You've got Gavin McDonnell against Gamal fight, which is a brilliant fight. Kid Galahad's going to return on that card as well in Sheffield. Dave Allen against Leroy Thomas for the Commonwealth heavyweight title. So it's going to be a really good show.
Opponent shortlist for AMIR Khan. What you got?
There's a list of like, I don't know, 15 guys I sent Virgil
15?
Hunter. Yeah, like Josecito Lopez, Sammy Vasquez. Antonio DeMarco, Phil LaGreco, Brad Solomon, literally, like, so we get the feedback from Virgil, go speak to those fighters, see who wants it, who doesn't. Press conference early next week, Tuesday, press conference in Liverpool. Got Masher against Coyle. announced for that undercard for the Commonwealth lightweight title, and looking to build a really strong card.
Good fight, that.
Yeah, really good fight. Right, that's another. But that's another. You know, like we're buzzing in the office at the moment. You know, like the team's buzzing. We're seeing the responses. We're seeing the schedule that we're building. And then bang, you put out a masher against Coyle. Wow, what a great fight! And it's all about momentum. And fighters have got to be willing to step up in these big fights. They're going to get paid a lot of money. But also, if they think they can win, they have to take these big fights, because we live in a world now, the fans aren't going to have it. I mean, I've seen some cards coming out, some televised cards to start off the year. Mate, if it was me putting on one of those cards, I would get publicly lynched. So we have to make sure that we're one step ahead.
Update on Katie Taylor?
We're looking at April 14th in Dublin. There's an opportunity to fight on the Jacobs card on April 28th. There's also a massive fight that we're planning on April 14th as well that could go instead. It's all a bit up in the air at the moment. But if Danny Jacobs fights Spike O'Sullivan, which I hoped would happen, but doesn't look like Spike's side want it. Not Spike himself, by the way. Sorry, Spike, because I know you'd fight anyway. But it's politics, basically, which is a shame because it's a big payday, big fight. Possibly Andy Lee might get the opportunity as well against Danny Jacobs. So if that's the case, I would like to do Katie Taylor in the unification fight potentially there, and then do for the undisputed fight in September in Dublin. So we'll see. It's not.
So where may you else go on 14th of April?
See you, mate.
Where could you be?
News soon on that.
Okay.
We'll have to see. We're just sorting things out.
All right. So we've got the Whyte-Browne press conference Thursday. So we'll talk about that
Kell Brook press conference on Friday.
This Friday?
Yep, in Sheffield. We're going to announce that tomorrow. And AMIR Khan next Tuesday in Liverpool.
Okay.
And we've got another big announcement coming next week. And some other stuff we're working on, which I can just smell it.
Any situation with O'Hara Davis?
No, I said to James, I think O'Hara and Tony Sims and Charlie Sims have gone their separate ways. Yeah. I had a meeting with O'Hara and I just said, look, it's not just about the comments that he made, it's the other stuff. I don't want to go into it, but it's like 4 or 5 things that, you know.
But his future at Sky, that's...
No, that's, you know, I'm not saying I'm not having O'Hara Davis on our shows, but I said, I want you to come off social media. I just want you to, you know O'Hara, right? He's not the guy on social media, yes or no?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I want him to be himself, and just he doesn't have to do that anymore. And by doing that, he's also getting rattled by the hate, and then he's saying terrible things that he doesn't even mean. But I just said to him, you've got to come off social media, and he doesn't want to do that, which is right up to him. So we'll see.
Anything else you want to add?
No. Pre-sale today for Whyte-Browne 02. Fight pass tomorrow, general sale on Thursday. Joshua against Parker, pre-sale Monday, general sale Tuesday. AMIR Khan tickets will be end of next week for Liverpool. And stay tuned for some huge announcements.
Look forward to it. Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV.
Thank you, old boy.